What if the switch for endless income isn't in your bank app, but in your biology, hidden in habits, focus, and value you broadcast each day? Open this code, align action with meaning, and watch opportunity compound into streams that refuse to run dry for you. Money at its truest is condensed trust. It flows toward clarity, usefulness, and courage like rivers find the sea. Yet most of us were handed scattered advice. Work harder, save more, hope for raises, while the actual architecture of limitless earning stayed hidden behind fog and jargon. This book removes the fog. The Infinite Income Code is not a trick, hustle, or loophole. It is a lattice of principles that align your attention, skills, and systems, so value multiplies without demanding identical hours from you forever. When value scales, income becomes a byproduct, not a plea. You will learn to build assets that work while you don't. Products, media, code, content, capital, communities, and partnerships. You will design offer stacks that help more people at ascending levels of depth. You will arrange distribution so discovery is inevitable, and automate boring steps so your best work receives your best energy. But we'll begin deeper than tactics. We will rewrite your relationship with risk, reset your scarcity defaults, and replace inherited scripts with sovereign ones. Then we'll move, deliberately, into market truth, message resonance, elegant offers, pricing power, audience building, compounding, and diversified streams that harmonize instead of cannibalize. Every chapter pairs philosophy with practice, reflection with action, and playbooks with experiments you can run today. You'll ship small, iterate fast, and let results, not opinions, decide. You'll treat income like a garden, plant, tend, prune, and harvest, season after season, until abundance feels ordinary. Keep this promise as you listen. I will create disproportionate value and invite compensation with integrity. If you carry that pledge, the code will unlock. The streams will start as trickles, join into channels, and, with care, widen into rivers that keep flowing long after you rest. And when setbacks arrive, you will iterate, learn, and rise, compounding wiser with every cycle forward. Chapter 1. The Nature of Flow. Money is not a pile of paper nor digits on a glowing screen. It is motion, a stream of trust shifting from one hand to another, seeking the path of least resistance. It flows toward clarity, speed, usefulness, and faith. If you look closely, you'll notice it avoids confusion, hides from indecision, and bypasses those who refuse to take responsibility for outcomes. It is not cruel, it is consistent, just like water runs downhill. The first key to the Infinite Income Code is realizing that income is a current, not a reservoir. When people imagine wealth, they see vaults, accounts, and stashes. But those who live in abundance understand. The vault only fills because the stream never stops. And that stream is not mystical. It is built on creating and delivering value that others recognize as greater than what they trade to receive it. Picture a baker. Each morning she opens her shop, kneads the dough, bakes the bread, and sells loaves to hungry neighbors. Money flows in exchange for nourishment and care. But what if she teaches her recipe online? What if she packages starter kits? What if she writes a book, creates a course, or licenses her brand? Suddenly the stream widens. The same essence, bread, nourishment, trust, now flows through multiple channels. The baker isn't chasing money. She's allowing value to reach more people in more ways. Flow depends on 3 laws: clarity of value, consistency of delivery, and amplification through distribution. When anyone is broken, the stream dries. When all align, money cannot help but move toward you. People feel safer, sure, more inspired around those who transmit trust. The Infinite Income Code begins here. Understand the nature of flow, and you stop clutching at puddles. You start directing rivers. Chapter 2. Resetting the script. The second chapter in this code does not start in the marketplace. It starts in your mind. Long before you design offers, price services, or build systems, you must examine the inner program you inherited. Most people carry a script about money written by parents, schools, or culture. These scripts whisper, "It is scarce, it is dangerous, it is for others, not you." Without even noticing, you repeat lines that aren't yours. And so the streams avoid you, not because you lack skill, but because you're blocking the flow with outdated beliefs. Resetting the script means acknowledging that wealth is not immoral, nor unattainable. It is not granted by fate. It is a byproduct of aligned value creation. The first rewrite is this: money responds to usefulness, not worthiness. You do not have to prove your value as a human. You already possess it. Income does not validate your soul. It measures the usefulness of your creations in a market. This simple reset erases guilt and shame, replacing them with responsibility and possibility. Next, you must dissolve the myth of scarcity. The market is not a zero-sum game. Someone else's gain is not your loss. In fact, every new creator expands the total pie. When your neighbor prospers, she hires, buys, invests, and circulates more. Scarcity scripts shrink your ambition. Abundant scripts expand it. Resetting your script means daring to believe. The world is not waiting to punish you for dreaming bigger. It is waiting for you to solve its problems. Finally, reset your relationship with risk. Your old script may define risk as danger, something to avoid at all costs. But in the infinite income code, risk is reframed as tuition. Every experiment you run, even the failed ones, deposits lessons into your future. You are not losing when you try. You are learning how to flow better. With this reset, fear loses its grip. You begin to see opportunities not as threats, but as doors. And when you walk through, streams of income begin to find you because your mind is no longer damning them. Chapter 3: Finding Market Truth. With your script reset, you step into the external world with new eyes. Now comes the discipline of finding truth, not imagined, not assumed, but lived truth in the market itself. The infinite income code thrives only when built on real problems, real needs, and real outcomes. You cannot conjure streams from fantasies. You must align with demand. Market truth begins with listening, not with broadcasting your brilliance, but with patient observation. What are people struggling with? What do they whisper in frustration? What do they search for late at night, hoping someone has solved? Every revenue stream flows from answering questions others cannot or will not solve for themselves. The closer your answer matches their pain or desire, the stronger the flow. But truth is not only about problems, it is also about willingness. You may find a pain, but is it sharp enough that people will pay to relieve it? The code demands honesty. Not every problem becomes a business. You must test quickly, ask boldly, and measure responses, not compliments. Enthusiasm means little unless it opens wallets. Imagine an app developer who believes her meditation tool will change lives. Friends nod politely, but no one pays. She insists the market is wrong. Months later, she's broke. Contrast her with another developer who notices busy parents complaining about organizing school schedules. He sketches a crude tool, offers it free to 10 parents, and 3 immediately ask, "Can we pay you to keep this updated?" That is market truth. Streams flow toward the second developer because he didn't cling to ego. He searched for truth. To find truth, you must experiment. Surveys, pilots, prototypes, conversations. Release your idea not as a monument, but as a balloon. See if it rises. And when it does, follow it upward, building support, stacking offers, expanding distribution. Market truth is your compass. ignore it, and streams dry up. Follow it, and the current will always carry you forward. Chapter 4. Positioning as a Promise. Positioning is not about standing out in a crowded room by yelling louder. It is about whispering exactly what one person longs to hear and having them know without a shadow of doubt that you are speaking only to them. When you master positioning, you are no longer one of many. You become the obvious choice because your promise resonates so specifically that it feels like destiny. Most creators mistake positioning for branding gimmicks, logos, or clever slogans. But true positioning is a promise, a crystal clear articulation of who you serve, what transformation you deliver, and why it matters now. This promise is not for everyone. It should repel the wrong audience as much as it magnetizes the right. When you declare your promise with courage, the flow of income accelerates because people no longer waste time questioning whether you are for them. They know. Consider the personal trainer who says, "I help people get fit." That statement is vague, diluted, and forgettable. Now imagine another who declares, "I help new mothers rebuild strength and energy in the first year after childbirth without long gym sessions." The second trainer has stepped into precise positioning. She speaks to someone specific with a defined problem in a moment of urgency. Her promise is not a general offer. It is a lifeline. Streams of income follow because the message lands where it needs to, in the heart of those who feel unseen until now. Positioning requires sacrifice. You must give up the illusion of pleasing everyone. The wider your net, the weaker your catch. Income flows toward sharp edges, not blurred lines. By narrowing your promise, you expand your impact. You trade being known by everyone for being indispensable to the right ones. This shift is terrifying for many, but it is the only way to activate the infinite income code. To craft your positioning, answer 3 sacred questions. Who am I speaking to? What transformation do I offer? Why is this the right moment? These answers form the triangle of your promise. Anything that doesn't fit weakens the structure. Everything that does strengthens it. The market is flooded with voices claiming to help, serve, or fix. But when you position yourself as the exact solution to an urgent, painful problem, your presence becomes magnetic. You do not chase opportunities, they recognize you. Positioning is the declaration of your promise, and when you make it with clarity, courage, and conviction, the streams of income find you without resistance. Chapter 5. Crafting the Core Offer. Your core offer is not a product or a service. It is a bridge. On one side stands your audience, weighed down by a problem, craving a better reality. On the other side is the transformation they yearn for, relief, growth, freedom, or fulfillment. Your offer is the promise that if they trust you, they will cross this bridge safely. Everything else, features, pricing, bonuses, or packaging, is scaffolding around that bridge. Too many entrepreneurs build offers as lists of tasks or bundles of deliverables. But people do not buy tasks, they buy outcomes. They buy relief from uncertainty, joy in progress, and faith in possibility. If your offer communicates those outcomes with conviction, the specifics of delivery become secondary. The infinite income code insists that you focus relentlessly on what life looks like after they say yes, not just what they receive during the process. Think of the baker again. She could sell loaves of bread priced by size and ingredients, but her true offer might be feed your family nourishing meals without hours in the kitchen. The bread is only the mechanism. The transformation is ease, care, and dignity at the dinner table. When you shift your offer to outcomes, you transcend commodity pricing and invite deeper streams of revenue. A strong offer has 3 pillars: clarity, credibility, and delight. Clarity means your prospect knows exactly what transformation to expect. Credibility means you provide proof, stories, testimonials, demonstrations that this transformation is real. Delight means you exceed expectations in a way that transforms a customer into a messenger, carrying your promise to others without being asked. Crafting your core offer is an act of empathy and vision. You step into the shoes of your audience, feel their weight, and dream their dream with them. Then you design a path that makes the journey easier, faster, safer, or more joyful. Your promise is not just words, it becomes a lived reality for them. And when you create this bridge, people will pay not merely for bread, courses, or coaching, they will pay for the new version of themselves they become on the other side. When you build your offer this way, income stops being extracted. It flows, pulled by the magnetic force of transformation. The stronger the bridge, the steadier the stream. Chapter 6. Pricing Power. Pricing is not arithmetic. It is psychology. Numbers on a page are not objective. They are symbols, signals, and stories. They whisper to your audience about value, trust, and identity. Price too low, and you tell the world you do not believe in your own promise. Price too high without proof, and you tell them you care more about extraction than transformation. The infinite income code requires a mastery of pricing, because pricing is one of the strongest levers that turns trickles into streams. The first truth: price is a mirror of value, not effort. Your hours, sweat, or complexity do not dictate the number. The transformation you deliver does. A simple idea that saves a business owner 10 hours a week is worth more than months of your labor that produces no measurable change. When you price based on value, you align with the flow of trust and outcomes. The second truth: pricing creates filters. A low price attracts those who want quick fixes, shallow commitment, and endless hand-holding. A higher price attracts those who are serious, invested, and ready to act. Price is not just about revenue, it shapes the very character of your customer base. By raising your price, you often reduce friction, increase results, and deepen relationships. The third truth: pricing is elastic. People will pay more than you imagine if the promise is clear, the outcome meaningful, and the credibility undeniable. To unlock this elasticity, you must stack value, not by padding with extras, but by framing the transformation in multiple dimensions. Time saved, stress reduced, income generated, joy created. When prospects see the layers of impact, the number feels small compared to the gain. Pricing power also comes from offering tiers. Not everyone wants the same depth of help. Some want to do it themselves, others want guidance, and still others want everything handled for them. By creating tiers, basic, premium, and elite, you let the market self-select. The streams widen because you capture multiple levels of willingness without diluting your promise. Finally, pricing power is a posture. If you present your price apologetically, prospects sense weakness and withdraw. If you state it with calm certainty, they sense alignment and step forward. Your belief in the worth of your offer anchors the belief of others. Confidence is contagious. Pricing is not the end of the sale, it is the beginning of transformation. When someone invests, they step onto the bridge with seriousness. The money exchanged is not merely for your benefit, it is their declaration of commitment to change. Respect that. Honor that. Deliver outcomes that eclipse the number, and watch as the flow of income grows steadier, stronger, and more infinite with each aligned exchange. Chapter 7. Magnetic Messaging. Words are currents. They either pull people closer or push them further away. Messaging is not about shouting the loudest in a crowded marketplace, but about whispering in a way that echoes in someone's inner chambers. When your words articulate what another person feels but cannot yet name, they lean in. They feel seen, understood, and invited. And that is the essence of magnetic messaging. It does not chase, it attracts. Most entrepreneurs scatter words like confetti, hoping something will stick. But your audience is not searching for noise. They are listening for resonance. They want to hear the language that mirrors their silent struggles, their hidden hopes, their unspoken fears. When they encounter such language, they stop scrolling, they pause the rush, and they give you their attention. In that moment, a door opens, and streams of income begin to flow. Magnetic messaging requires deep listening. You cannot invent words in isolation. You must borrow them from the very people you seek to serve. Pay attention to how they describe their pain in forums, in surveys, in passing conversations. Notice the metaphors they reach for, the complaints they repeat, the dreams they dare to voice. Use their words, not your inventions, because when people hear their own language reflected back, they do not resist. They relax. They think, finally, someone who gets it. But attraction is not built only on pain. Hope must be woven into your words. Messaging that dwells only on problems creates heaviness. Messaging that paints a picture of possibility creates motion. You must describe not only where they are, but where they long to be in such detail that they can taste it. They should see themselves stepping into that better future, guided by your promise. Story is the most powerful form of messaging. Facts inform, but stories transform. A story of a customer who overcame the same struggle your prospect now faces will do more than statistics ever could. Stories bypass skepticism and speak directly to the subconscious, planting seeds of belief that grow into decisions. Clarity is the final ingredient. Cleverness is the enemy of income. If someone has to decode your words, the current breaks. Simple, direct language cuts through noise. I help single parents reclaim their evenings by automating household chaos. Is infinitely more magnetic than vague phrases about empowering lifestyles. When your message is sharp, it pierces. When it is dull, it glances off. Magnetic messaging is not a one-time craft. It is alive. You test, refine, and adjust. You notice which words create engagement and which create silence. You keep what pulls, discard what pushes, and shape your language until it feels like gravity. With each refinement, the stream of attention grows wider, and attention, when directed well, becomes income. Chapter 8. Distribution by Design. Value without visibility is silence. You may craft the most transformative offer and the most magnetic message, but if it floats unseen in the shadows, the streams will never reach you. Distribution is the art and science of placing your promise where those who need it can find it, again and again, until recognition transforms into trust. Many dreamers imagine that if they build something great, people will stumble upon it. But greatness is not enough. Distribution is intentional. It is design. You must plant your seeds in the soil where they are most likely to grow. Streams do not flow randomly. They follow channels you carve. Distribution begins with mapping where your audience already gathers. Which platforms do they use daily? Which communities do they frequent? Which voices already hold their attention? You do not need to invent new gatherings. You need to walk into existing rooms, carrying clarity, consistency, and contribution. But design means more than choosing channels. It means orchestrating them so each amplifies the other. A blog post feeds an email feeds a video feeds a webinar feeds a sale. Each piece is not an isolated splash, but part of a deliberate cascade. This is distribution by design, where one effort multiplies instead of dissipating. Consider the difference between shouting once in a crowded street and setting up a lighthouse by the shore. The shout fades in seconds. The lighthouse shines continuously, guiding ships night after night. Your distribution should resemble the lighthouse, consistent, predictable, and unignorable. When people know where to find you, they return, and with every return, trust compounds. Automation strengthens distribution. Schedule posts, repurpose content, and let tools carry your message while you sleep. But automation is not laziness, it is leverage. It frees your human energy for creation and connection while machines carry repetition. Paid distribution is another lever. When designed well, ads are not expenses but accelerators. A dollar spent should return more than a dollar earned. But this requires discipline, testing, measuring, and scaling only what works. Distribution without data is gambling. Distribution with data is wealth building. Finally, remember that distribution is not only about scale, it is about alignment. 1,000 wrong eyes are worth less than 10 right ones. You do not need everyone. You need the right ones consistently. When you distribute with design, the current of attention flows steadily. And attention, sustained and directed, becomes the foundation for infinite streams of income. Chapter 9. Audience as Asset. An audience is not a number. It is a living, breathing community of people who trust you. And trust is the most valuable currency in existence. When you understand this, you stop chasing quick sales and begin building relationships. Because a product sold today is income once. An audience nurtured today is income forever. Many creators treat their audience like a faucet. Turn it on, extract water, and walk away. But a true audience is a well. If you care for it, it replenishes endlessly. If you neglect it, it dries. The infinite income code demands that you shift from extraction to cultivation. Every person who joins your audience is not a statistic. They are a seed. With care, that seed becomes a tree, and that tree feeds you for years. How do you transform numbers into an asset? First, by owning the connection. Social media platforms are rented land. They can change rules overnight. An email list, a text community, or a private group is owned land. Build there, because control of the channel ensures the continuity of the stream. Second, by serving before selling. Give knowledge, stories, encouragement, and clarity. Let your audience experience transformation in small ways before they ever buy. This generosity is not charity, it is strategy. People trust those who help them when no transaction is on the table. Trust, once established, lowers resistance to every future offer. Third, by inviting dialogue. An audience that only listens is fragile. An audience that engages is resilient. Ask questions, host discussions, encourage feedback. Make them co-creators in your journey. The more they feel included, the more invested they become in your success. Fourth, by segmenting and deepening. Not every member wants the same thing. Some want free insight, others want paid transformation. Still others want deep partnership. By creating layers of engagement, you turn your audience into an ecosystem. Each level feeds the next, and streams of income flow at every tier. Finally, treat your audience as a long-term relationship, not a short-term conquest. Celebrate milestones, remember names, share your story transparently, let them grow with you. The audience becomes an asset not because of its size, but because of the depth of its trust. With trust, one person can become a megaphone, carrying your promise to dozens. Without trust, thousands will stay silent. An audience is more than marketing, it is compounding human capital. Each person who believes in you becomes a partner in spreading your message. Each partner multiplies reach, credibility, and sales. Nurture your audience, and you are not building a list. You are constructing the foundation of infinite income. For streams do not only come from products or offers. They come from people who believe and who are willing to walk with you again and again into the future. Chapter 10. Content that sells quietly. The most powerful sales rarely sound like selling. They feel like guidance, illumination, or companionship. Content, when crafted with precision and care, becomes the bridge that carries strangers across the river of skepticism into the land of trust. It is the quiet salesman who works tirelessly, day and night, whispering your promise into the minds of those who encounter it. Content is not filler. It is not noise to keep algorithms satisfied. True content is a gift, a slice of transformation given freely, a signal that says, I understand your problem, I have navigated the path, and I can help you find your way. When people consume such content, they do not feel manipulated. They feel seen. And when they feel seen, they return. Quiet selling begins with clarity. Each piece of content must connect directly to your positioning and your core offer. If it does not, it is a distraction. You are not here to be a broadcaster of random thoughts. You are here to be a lighthouse. Every article, video, podcast, or post should point in one direction, toward the transformation you promise. Yet content that sells quietly must never feel like a pitch. It must feel like insight, story, or revelation. Imagine telling the story of a client who once struggled as your prospect now struggles, and then sharing how a single shift changed everything. You are not saying, buy now. You are saying, look, the path exists. The reader fills in the missing line, and I can take that path with you. Authority emerges through consistency. One piece of content may spark curiosity, but it is the accumulation that builds belief. When someone sees you appear repeatedly, solving problems, clarifying confusion, and sharing wisdom, their skepticism erodes. Each touch point is a drop of water, and together the drops carve canyons. Your content must also invite engagement, pose questions, encourage reflection, and offer small actions. When someone interacts, even silently, by journaling after your prompt, they are no longer a passive consumer. They are an active participant in transformation, and the moment they act, however small, the likelihood of them investing further multiplies. Quiet selling also requires storytelling. Facts inform the brain, but stories capture the soul. The story of how you once stumbled and found your way back holds more weight than statistics. Stories bypass defense and plant seeds of possibility. Each story you share becomes proof that change is not theoretical, it is lived. Finally, content must be designed for longevity. A tweet vanishes in hours, but an article, podcast, or video can attract for years. Build assets, not just moments. Let your work compound by existing in places where people search for answers every day. When content becomes the quiet salesman, income arrives without pressure. Prospects feel they discovered you rather than you chasing them. And when they choose to buy, it feels less like a transaction and more like the natural next step in a relationship you've already begun. Content is trust at scale, and trust, when nurtured with patience, becomes revenue that flows endlessly. Chapter 11. Productized Services. At first, income often comes through trading time for money. You customize, you adjust, you bend for each client. This is natural, and in the early stages it teaches you the patterns of need. But if you remain here, your income is capped by your calendar. The infinite income code cannot flourish inside the prison of endless customization. To unlock scale, you must transform services into products. Productized services are repeatable solutions packaged like goods. Instead of reinventing the wheel with every client, you design a wheel that rolls smoothly for anyone who buys. This does not strip away value. It amplifies it. Standardization creates consistency, predictability, and efficiency. Your customers receive clearer outcomes faster. You receive freedom from exhaustion and the ability to serve more without diluting quality. Imagine a web designer. Without productization, every new client requires endless calls, unique proposals, and custom quotes. With productization, she offers 3 clear packages: a basic site, a growth site, and a premium site with ongoing support. Each has a fixed scope, timeline, and price. Prospects no longer negotiate endlessly, they choose. The service has become a product, and streams of income widen because the process is now scalable. Productized services thrive on boundaries. Define what is included, what is not, and the exact outcomes delivered. Ambiguity is the enemy. Clarity creates trust. When clients know what they will receive, and when they will receive it, they relax. And relaxed clients are happy clients who return and refer. Systemization is the backbone. Document your process, create templates, build checklists. Each repetition improves the system. Each system reduces reliance on your memory and increases reliability. Over time, your service becomes a machine that anyone on your team can run, freeing you to focus on growth. Pricing also shifts in productization. You move from hourly justification to value-based packages. Customers no longer care how many hours you spent. They care about the transformation. And when the offer is framed as a product, the value becomes easier to grasp and easier to sell. Marketing benefits too. It is easier to sell a brand refresh package than design services at $50 per hour. The first is tangible. The second is vague. Tangibility creates desire, and desire unlocks streams of income. Productized services are not rigid cages. They are frameworks. You can still allow for upgrades, add-ons, or custom extensions, but the foundation remains consistent. You trade chaos for clarity, and in doing so, you transform your service from a grind into an asset. By productizing, you free yourself from the ceiling of hours. You create leverage, and leverage is the lifeblood of infinite income. The more repeatable your service, the stronger your foundation for scaling into digital products, licensing, or entire businesses built on the back of clarity. Chapter 12: Digital Products. Digital products are modern alchemy. They take knowledge, skill, or creativity that once lived only in your mind or hands and crystallize it into a form that can be replicated infinitely at near zero cost. Once created, they work without fatigue, without complaint, without the limits of time zones or geography. They are the purest expression of leverage in the infinite income code. A course, an ebook, a template, a software tool, all are vessels for transformation. What matters is not the format, but the outcome they deliver. Digital products solve problems or unlock desires packaged in a way that anyone, anywhere, can access instantly. This accessibility expands your reach beyond imagination. Creating a digital product begins with clarity. Do not start with what you want to teach or show. Start with what your audience desperately wants solved. The tighter the focus, the stronger the demand. A bloated, generic course dies in obscurity, but a simple, targeted template that saves hours becomes a bestseller. Once clarity is established, creation must be guided by simplicity. Do not overwhelm. People are not buying information. They are buying transformation. Design your product to get them from point A to point B with as little friction as possible. Complexity is your enemy. Usability is your ally. Digital products compound because they separate creation from distribution. You build once, and then the marketplace, your content, and your distribution channels carry it forward endlessly. A single PDF can sell 100 times, 1,000 times, without additional effort. Each sale is proof that your work has transformed from effort into asset. The economics are unmatched. Margins soar because costs shrink. You invest upfront energy, but once launched, every additional sale is nearly pure profit. This profit can then be reinvested into more creation, marketing, or scaling, creating a flywheel that spins faster with each rotation. But success is not guaranteed by existence. Digital shelves are filled with forgotten products that never sold. The difference lies in positioning, messaging, and marketing. You must treat your digital product as a living entity that requires ongoing attention. Updates, promotion, and refinement. Bundles amplify impact. A single ebook may sell modestly, but when paired with video lessons and a workbook, the perceived value multiplies. Likewise, upsells and downsells extend the customer journey, allowing one purchase to expand into many. Streams of income widen not through chance, but through deliberate architecture. Community can enhance digital products. A course with a private group, a template with a live workshop, or software with a user forum transforms a product into an ecosystem. This deepens connection, increases retention, and reduces churn. Ultimately, digital products represent a shift from trading time for money to building assets that serve perpetually. They free you from geography, unlock global markets, and allow your wisdom to ripple through lives you may never meet. Each download, each login, each use is a silent testament. Your knowledge has been crystallized into value. When built with intention, digital products become infinite streams of income flowing day and night, multiplying your reach and magnifying your impact. They are the clearest proof that your mind can generate wealth long after your hands have paused. In the infinite income code, they are the first great leap from effort into exponential. Chapter 13. Subscriptions and Memberships. There is a quiet magic in continuity. Most income flows like rain, sudden, heavy, then gone. You celebrate a big launch, an impressive contract, or a surge of sales, only to wake the next month staring at empty skies, wondering when the next storm will come. But subscriptions and memberships transform that fragile pattern. They turn rain into rivers, steady and dependable, flowing regardless of season. And when rivers flow, anxiety dissolves, replaced by stability, predictability, and compounding growth. A subscription or membership is not just a billing model. It is a covenant of ongoing value. It says to your audience, I will not abandon you after the transaction. I will walk beside you, delivering consistent transformation, insight, or relief. In return, you pledge your loyalty not in one lump sum, but in monthly, quarterly, or annual streams. This structure deepens trust because it demonstrates that you are building a relationship, not merely extracting payment. The key to designing a thriving subscription is to solve a recurring problem or provide ongoing nourishment. People do not subscribe to things they can solve once and forget. They subscribe to resources that either replenish constantly or evolve over time. Think of fitness memberships, streaming services, or SaaS tools. Each provides continuous value that grows stale if stopped. Your task is to identify what your audience desires not once, but always. The psychological power of subscriptions is immense. A single payment decision becomes a stream of income that repeats without friction. Each renewal is not a new sale, but a continuation of an earlier choice. This continuity lowers acquisition costs and increases lifetime value, but it also demands responsibility. If you stop providing real value, the current will dry. Churn is the leak in the vessel, and you must patch it with consistency, innovation, and care. Consider the musician who once sold individual albums. Each project was a sprint, exhausting and uncertain. Then she created a membership where fans received monthly unreleased songs, behind-the-scenes footage, and private concerts. Now she no longer begged for sales. She nurtured a tribe. Income became steady, creative pressure lightened, and fans felt closer than ever. The river was born because she replaced scarcity with continuity. Memberships thrive on community. People remain not only for the content or service, but for belonging. When they share a space with others pursuing the same journey, the membership becomes more than a transaction. It becomes identity. A coaching membership, for example, offers not just lessons but connection with peers. In this way, each member adds value to others, making the community self-sustaining. The architecture of a subscription requires clarity. What do members receive? How often? How do they interact? Confusion breeds cancellation. Simplicity breeds loyalty. A clean rhythm, weekly calls, monthly releases, seasonal events, sets expectations and creates comfort. Predictability is the soil where retention grows. Scaling subscriptions comes through tiers. Some want entry-level access, others crave deeper involvement, and a few desire elite treatment. By layering your membership into levels, you meet each person where they are while inviting them to ascend. This structure multiplies streams within the same community, all built on the same foundation of trust. Ultimately, subscriptions and memberships are not about charging monthly. They are about creating rhythms of value that mirror the rhythms of life. When done with integrity, they transform your business into a living ecosystem where members stay, grow, and invite others. Streams widen not by chance, but by commitment to ongoing relationship. And in this steady current lies the true promise of infinite income. Security built on service, freedom built on flow. Chapter 14, Licensing and IP. Ideas are seeds. When planted only in your own field, they yield harvests limited to your time, reach, and capacity. But when licensed, those seeds sprout in fields you will never see, multiplying your influence and revenue across landscapes far beyond your horizon. Licensing and intellectual property are the great multipliers in the infinite income code. They allow your creations to earn even when you are absent, expanding your streams by letting others carry your value into the world. Licensing begins with recognizing that what you create, your methods, frameworks, content, or tools, has value beyond your direct use. A teacher designs a curriculum, a coach develops a methodology, a creator builds templates. Alone, these serve their immediate audience. But when shared through licensing, they become assets that others distribute for a fee on your behalf. Each license is like a toll booth on a bridge. Others cross it daily, and each crossing contributes to your income. The beauty of licensing is scale without duplication of effort. Once your intellectual property is defined, packaged, and protected, it can be used by countless others simultaneously. You no longer carry the burden of reaching every customer yourself. Partners, organizations, or distributors expand your reach while you collect royalties. It is income unchained from geography, effort, or even awareness of every end user. Intellectual property takes many forms: trademarks, patents, copyrighted content, proprietary systems. Protecting your IP ensures that when others use your creation, they pay for the privilege. Without protection, your value leaks. With protection, it compounds. Consider a songwriter whose lyrics are sung worldwide. Each performance, stream, or cover sends royalties back to her. She may never meet the performer or the audience, but the system ensures her river flows. Licensing thrives on clarity of rights. What can partners use? How long? In what context? Ambiguity weakens the stream. Precision strengthens it. Agreements should define boundaries while making the partnership attractive. The more frictionless the use, the more your IP is adopted. The leverage of licensing is profound. A consultant who once worked with 10 clients a year can license her methodology to hundreds of coaches, each serving dozens of clients. Her impact multiplies, her influence spreads, and her income grows exponentially, all without increasing her hours. But licensing also requires discernment. Not every partner deserves access to your IP. The wrong alignment dilutes your brand confuses customers, and weakens trust. Protect your reputation as fiercely as your revenue. Choose partners who amplify your values and extend your promise with integrity. When you begin to see your ideas as assets, you unlock a new dimension of income. Your frameworks, your stories, your innovations, they are not just tools for today's work. They are seeds for perpetual harvest. With licensing and IP, you shift from being a single farmer to the architect of an entire ecosystem where others cultivate on your behalf. And in that ecosystem, the streams of income become rivers, flowing through channels you could never have built alone. Chapter 15. Affiliate and Partnerships. No river flows alone. Streams join, merge, and reinforce one another, creating strength far greater than a single current. In the realm of infinite income, this principle manifests through affiliates and partnerships. Alone, your reach is limited by your audience, your energy, your distribution. Together, aligned with others, your reach multiplies exponentially. An affiliate partnership is simple. Others share your offer, and in return, they receive a commission. Yet beneath this simplicity lies immense power. Affiliates allow your promise to reach circles you could never penetrate alone. Their trust with their audience transfers to you. Each recommendation is a bridge built on their credibility, carrying prospects into your world. Partnerships deepen this principle. They are not just about sharing links, they are about aligning missions. Two creators, two companies, or two brands agree to combine strengths. One offers distribution, another provides value, both benefit. The result is not subtraction, but multiplication. Each party taps into the other's audience, systems, and momentum. Trust is the currency here. Affiliates who simply chase commissions erode credibility, both theirs and yours. But affiliates who genuinely believe in your offer amplify trust. Their audiences sense authenticity, and streams of income flow with ease. The same holds true in partnerships. Align with those whose values mirror yours, whose reputation elevates yours, and the current becomes unstoppable. The structure of affiliate programs matters. Clarity in terms, transparency in tracking, and promptness in payment build loyalty. Affiliates who feel cared for become evangelists. Neglected affiliates drift away. Simple dashboards, fair commissions, and recognition go a long way in sustaining momentum. Partnerships thrive when designed around complementary strengths. A writer may partner with a designer to release a joint course. A software company may partner with a consultant to distribute tools to new markets. Each partner fills the other's gaps, creating an offering stronger than either could produce alone. The ripple effects are profound. One affiliate can open the door to hundreds of new customers. One partnership can unlock markets once inaccessible. Each connection extends the river's reach, carrying your promise farther, faster, but discernment remains crucial. The wrong affiliate dilutes your reputation. The wrong partner anchors you to misaligned goals. In infinite income, as in nature, the purity of the stream matters. Choose allies carefully. Their current will merge with yours, and together you will shape the flow. Affiliates and partnerships remind us that wealth is not a solitary pursuit. It is communal. When streams join, they become rivers. When rivers merge, they form oceans. And in those oceans, opportunities are endless. By inviting others into your flow fairly, transparently, and authentically, you accelerate not only your own income, but theirs as well. And that reciprocity is the essence of abundance. Streams that never stop because they are shared. Chapter 16. Marketplaces and Platforms. The world has always been a bazaar. In ancient times, merchants gathered in squares where customers wandered from stall to stall, looking for spices, fabrics, or tools. Today, the bazaar is digital, vast beyond imagination. and filled with marketplaces and platforms that hold the attention of billions. To unlock the infinite income code, you must learn not only to build your own stage, but to step onto these massive stages already humming with traffic. Platforms are not distractions, they are rivers already flowing. Your task is to dip your vessel in, collect, and redirect that flow into streams that are yours. Marketplaces like Amazon, Etsy, Udemy, Shopify, or app stores are not simply websites, they are ecosystems. They bring together demand and supply, curating trust through reviews, systems, and infrastructure. When you participate, you borrow their credibility. A stranger who may not know you yet trusts the platform, and that trust transfers onto your offer. This is why a digital product sold on a personal website may languish while the same product on a marketplace thrives. Visibility and credibility converge, and income flows. But to succeed on platforms, you must respect their rules. Each marketplace has its algorithms, fees, cultures, and expectations. Resist the temptation to fight them. Instead, learn their language, optimize your presence, and treat the platform not as a burden, but as leverage. A seller who understands how Amazon prioritizes search results or how Etsy favors product descriptions is not at the mercy of chance. They are aligning their sails with the wind. Platforms are multipliers, but they are also landlords. You do not own the land, you rent it. This means your streams can dry overnight if rules change. To counter this, treat platforms as accelerators, not anchors. Use them to discover audiences, test offers, and build initial momentum. But simultaneously, invite customers into your owned ecosystem, your email list, your website, your community. Let the marketplace introduce you, but ensure the relationship continues on ground you control. The greatest danger in marketplaces is becoming invisible among thousands. The antidote is differentiation. What is your unique promise, your design, your story? Listings that look identical drown in sameness. But when you weave narrative, clarity, and emotion into your presence, your offer shines. Think of a handmade journal seller. One lists leather notebook, 200 pages. Another writes, crafted from reclaimed leather, this journal carries the spirit of 100 forgotten stories. Write yours next. Which one flows into memory and therefore income? Leverage reviews as assets. In marketplaces, social proof is currency. Encourage early buyers to share their experiences and nurture them until their words become magnets for others. 100 authentic voices saying, "This transformed my work," is more persuasive than any ad you could buy. Platforms are also partnerships. When you treat them with respect, you can access promotions, features, and partnerships that amplify your reach far beyond your own. Align with their goals, and they will carry you farther than you could go alone. Marketplaces and platforms are reminders that infinite income is not built only by constructing your own world. It is also built by entering others skillfully. Rivers already exist. By understanding their flow, aligning with their rhythms, and channeling their current, you accelerate your journey towards streams that never stop. Chapter 17, Ads that Amplify. Advertising is fire. Left untended, it burns money. Controlled with precision, it powers engines. The infinite income code teaches that ads are not a desperate push, but a deliberate amplifier. They do not replace value, trust, or clarity. They magnify them. When used wisely, ads turn sparks into wildfires, carrying your promise to those who need it faster than organic reach alone can manage. The first principle is that ads amplify truth. If your offer is weak, unclear, or unwanted, ads will only expose that weakness faster. They are accelerants, not fixes. Before spending a dollar, ensure your promise resonates, your audience exists, and your offer converts. Otherwise, you are pouring gasoline onto wet wood. Ads thrive on clarity of target. The platforms of today, Facebook, Instagram, Google, YouTube, TikTok, are treasure maps of human attention. They know where your audience lives, what they like, what they search for. But if you cannot define who you serve, the platforms cannot help you. Precision targeting turns noise into relevance. Broad targeting wastes money. Specific targeting creates profit. The creative must speak the language of resonance. In a scroll of endless content, why should someone stop for you? A headline, an image, a story. These are the hooks. But beneath them must be a clear path. Attention flows to interest, interest to desire, desire to action. Ads are not art contests. They are bridges from curiosity to commitment. Measurement is the heartbeat. Unlike billboards of the past, digital ads whisper their secrets if you listen. Impressions, clicks, conversions, costs. Treat this data not as numbers, but as a compass. It will show you where the current flows strongest and where leaks drain your budget. Ignore the compass and you wander blind. Follow it, and every dollar spent becomes an investment, not an expense. Scaling ads is a discipline. Start small, test many, kill quickly. What fails, feed generously what works. 100 small experiments lead to one breakthrough campaign. That campaign, when scaled, becomes a machine that prints customers. But the machine must be maintained. Trends shift, platforms evolve, and fatigue sets in. Stay vigilant, adapt often, and the flow continues. Ads also create leverage when paired with organic distribution. Content warms the audience, ads convert them. Retargeting ensures those who once glanced at you are reminded until they decide. Each layer reinforces the others, creating a cycle where strangers become prospects, prospects become customers, and customers become advocates. The danger with ads is seduction. Early wins may tempt you into reckless spending, believing fire will always burn in your favor. Guard against arrogance. Ads are tools, not saviors. Use them as amplifiers of an already solid foundation, and they will accelerate you into rivers of revenue. Use them as crutches for weak offers, and they will bankrupt you. When mastered, ads are not interruptions, they are invitations. The right ad, delivered at the right time, feels less like persuasion and more like providence. To the one scrolling, it feels as though the universe placed your solution before them exactly when they needed it. That is not accident, that is design, and design, when aligned with truth, creates streams of income that multiply effortlessly. Chapter 18, Capital and Cash Flow. Income is the spark, capital is the fuel, cash flow is the oxygen. Without these three working in harmony, even the most brilliant strategy suffocates. Chapter 18 in the Infinite Income Code reveals a truth most avoid. Money management is not a dry necessity, but a sacred discipline. It is the keeper of flow. For what good are rivers of revenue if your vessel leaks, your stores vanish, and your growth stalls? Capital is stored energy. It allows you to endure winters, invest in opportunities, and build foundations stronger than the storms. Many chase revenue but neglect capital, spending as quickly as they earn. They live in feast and famine cycles, celebrating big wins only to collapse in scarcity weeks later. To break this pattern, you must honor capital as both shield and sword. Shield, because it protects you from setbacks. Sword, because it empowers you to strike when chances appear. Cash flow is movement, the rhythm of money entering and leaving your hands. A profitable business can still die if cash flow dries. Imagine invoices unpaid, bills piling, and payroll looming. Profit exists on paper, but oxygen is gone. To master cash flow, you must know your numbers intimately. What enters, what leaves, when, and why. Clarity here prevents suffocation. The infinite income code teaches buffers. At least 3 months of operating expenses stored, untouched, waiting. This buffer transforms panic into patience. When storms hit, you do not beg, you breathe. Opportunities can be seized, not avoided, because you are not scrambling for survival. Capital also unlocks leverage. With reserves, you can invest in ads, teams, or tools before competitors. You can purchase assets at discounts during downturns. You can expand streams instead of merely maintaining them. But capital must be respected. Treat it not as free to spend, but as sacred reserves allocated intentionally. Systems for cash flow are your allies. Automate savings, schedule payouts, and separate accounts for taxes, investments, and operations. Confusion creates leaks. Clarity creates growth. Each dollar must have a destination even before it arrives. This discipline ensures your rivers of income remain healthy, not clogged with impulse and chaos. Debt is both danger and leverage. Used carelessly, it enslaves. Used wisely, it accelerates. The code demands discernment. Borrow only when repayment is certain, and only to fuel growth, never vanity. Debt should expand streams, not drain them. Finally, remember that money amplifies who you are. Capital in the hands of fear creates hoarding. Capital in the hands of vision creates empires. Cash flow in the hands of carelessness evaporates. Cash flow in the hands of discipline multiplies. To master capital and cash flow is not merely to manage money, it is to command the very lifeblood of infinite income. Your rivers can be vast, your streams endless. But without capital and cash flow, the system collapses. With them, the streams do not just continue, they swell, merge, and carve valleys of abundance that endure for generations. This is the discipline of true builders. This is the foundation of wealth that does not stop. Chapter 19. Automation Architecture. A human life is finite. Your hours are finite. Your energy is finite. Yet the infinite income code promises streams that flow without stopping, even when you rest, travel, or pause. The key to this promise lies in automation. Automation is not cold machinery. It is the architecture that carries your message, delivers your value, and collects your revenue while your hands are still. It is the bridge between limited human effort and limitless scale. Automation begins with the recognition that repetition is wasteful when a system can carry it instead. If you send the same welcome message to every new subscriber, if you explain the same instructions to every new client, if you manually process every invoice, you are trading life for tasks. The code asks you, why not build once and let it run forever? Each repeated manual act is a leak in your river. Each automated act is a dam that redirects water into consistent flow. The architecture of automation has 3 pillars: attract, deliver, and nurture. To attract, you build systems that capture attention and convert strangers into prospects. Landing pages, lead magnets, and sign-up forms, all designed to operate 24/7. The moment someone encounters your promise, the system invites them in without waiting for your availability. Delivery is the second pillar. Once someone invests, automation ensures they receive their transformation quickly and reliably. Digital products are delivered instantly, courses unlocked seamlessly, confirmation sent without delay. The system removes friction, and friction is the enemy of flow. Nurture is the third pillar, and perhaps the most sacred. Automation is not only about mechanics, it is about relationship. Thoughtfully crafted sequences, emails, messages, reminders, speak in your voice long after you have written them. They share stories, insights, and encouragement, creating the feeling of presence even in your absence. Done poorly, this feels robotic. Done well, it feels like intimacy at scale. But automation is not about replacing humanity. It is about amplifying it. The moments that require your unique creativity, empathy, or judgment should never be automated. The goal is to clear away the repetitive underbrush so you can spend your finite hours on what no machine can replicate. Vision, innovation, connection. Consider the coach who once spent hours every week onboarding new clients, collecting forms, and chasing invoices. By building an automated system, she freed 20 hours a month. Those 20 hours became time for creating new content, serving more deeply, and expanding her streams. Automation did not reduce her humanity, it restored it. The danger of automation is detachment. Systems must always be reviewed, tested, and infused with real care. A neglected automation becomes a stale echo, driving people away instead of drawing them in. But when you maintain your architecture, it becomes a living structure, carrying water endlessly. The infinite income code thrives on leverage. Automation is one of the purest forms of leverage available. It allows a single action, crafted once, to ripple endlessly into the future. It allows you to multiply presence, accelerate delivery, and deepen trust without multiplying effort. And when effort is uncoupled from income, the streams truly become infinite. Chapter 20: Delegation and Teams. The myth of the lone builder is seductive. Stories of solitary entrepreneurs working from garages until fortune arrives capture imagination. But the infinite income code teaches a higher truth. Rivers cannot be carried in one pair of hands. Streams widen, channels multiply, and eventually the current grows too strong for one to manage alone. To sustain and expand, you must learn the art of delegation and the building of teams. Delegation is not abdication. It is not throwing tasks away because you are overwhelmed. It is a sacred act of trust, handing responsibility to others so that together you can accomplish what would be impossible alone. When you cling to every detail, you choke the river. When you release wisely, you allow it to widen. The first step is clarity. You cannot delegate what you cannot define. Write the process, articulate the outcome, and set the standard. Delegation without clarity is chaos disguised as freedom. But with clarity, you give someone else a map, and they can walk the path confidently. The second step is trust. Micromanagement is the dam that stops flow. You must allow others to take ownership, to make small mistakes, and to grow. The infinite income code teaches that trust is not naive. It is strategic. A trusted teammate multiplies your capacity. A controlled task remains trapped in your hands. Building teams requires alignment. Skills matter, but values matter more. A skilled person misaligned with your mission corrodes culture, creates friction, and drains energy. A less experienced person aligned with your vision can learn, grow, and become a loyal ally. Choose character over convenience. Build slowly but deliberately. Compensation is also a signal. When you pay fairly, generously, and consistently, you create loyalty. Streams of income are not only for you, they are for those who help sustain them. A team that feels valued will carry your vision farther than one that feels exploited. Technology makes teams borderless. The digital age allows you to hire talent across time zones, cultures, and skills. A virtual assistant in another country, a designer across the ocean, a strategist in a different city, all can align with your mission and help you build streams that never sleep. But leadership is more than hiring. It is vision, communication, and recognition. Share where the river is flowing, why it matters, and how each member contributes. Celebrate wins, acknowledge effort, and create belonging. Teams thrive not only on tasks, but on meaning. The moment you delegate, you shift from operator to architect. You stop rowing every boat and begin designing the fleet. This shift is uncomfortable for many. It feels like loss of control. but it is in fact the only path to greater control, for a system of many hands, aligned and empowered, can carry rivers far more steadily than one exhausted hand ever could. Delegation and teams are not luxuries. They are necessities for infinite income. Streams that rely only on you will eventually slow. Streams carried by teams flow long after you step aside. And in that continuity lies freedom, the ability to rest, to create, to dream again, while your rivers keep running. Chapter 21. Data as Direction. The human mind is a storyteller. We imagine, we assume, we guess. This is beautiful for creativity, but dangerous for business. When you rely only on instinct, you risk steering your boat into rocks hidden beneath the surface. Data is the light that reveals the riverbed. It shows you where the water runs deep, where it is shallow, and where it branches. In the infinite income code, data is not numbers for their own sake. It is direction. Data whispers the truth that opinion cannot. You may love a product, but if customers ignore it, the numbers reveal reality. You may dislike a campaign, but if conversions soar, the numbers expose its strength. Feelings matter, but decisions built only on feelings create fragile rivers. Decisions guided by data create channels that last. Data begins with clarity of measurement. What matters most? Revenue, conversion rate, lifetime value, churn, acquisition cost. These are not abstract metrics. They are signals. Each one tells you something about the health of your streams. If churn rises, your value is leaking. If lifetime value grows, your nurture is working. If acquisition cost spikes, your distribution is misaligned. But numbers without context are noise. You must connect them to story. If a launch underperforms, was it timing, messaging, or offer? Data gives clues, but you must interpret with wisdom. The infinite income code teaches balance. Listen to numbers, interpret with story, and act with courage. Data also demands cadence. Looking once a year is blindness. Looking daily can create panic. The right rhythm, weekly check-ins, monthly reviews, quarterly deep dives, keeps you aligned without obsession. Rivers must be monitored, but not micromanaged. Experiments are the engine of growth. Data alone is passive. Action creates learning. Test headlines, prices, channels. Run small pilots, measure results, and scale only what flows. The more experiments you run, the faster you discover where the strongest currents lie. Failure is not loss when it produces clarity. Tools make data visible. Dashboards, analytics, tracking software, they gather signals and present them clearly. But tools are only amplifiers. The wisdom lies in the questions you ask. Where are we leaking? Where are we thriving? Where is flow strongest? Where does it stall? The quality of your questions determines the quality of your decisions. Finally, data is humility. It forces you to release ego and accept truth. It shows you that what you assumed might not align with reality. This humility is not weakness, it is strength. For when you align with truth, your streams align with reality, and reality always wins. The infinite income code thrives on iteration. Data guides iteration. Iteration strengthens streams, and streams, guided by truth, flow endlessly. Data is not the enemy of intuition, it is its partner. Intuition imagines paths. Data confirms which are safe. Together they guide you toward rivers that never stop. Chapter 22. Launch Mechanics. A launch is not merely an event. It is not a single announcement, a one-time email, or a casual post online. A launch is a ceremony, a ritual of introduction where you present your promise to the world with clarity, energy, and intention. In the infinite income code, launches are not chaotic gambles. They are designed, rehearsed, and executed with precision. Done right, they transform curiosity into commitment and ignite streams of revenue that continue long after the initial spark. The mechanics of a launch begin with anticipation. Before you sell, you must build expectancy. People should feel something is coming, something worth noticing. A farmer does not harvest before planting. In the same way, you must plant seeds of intrigue. Share stories that hint at solutions. Reveal the struggles your offer resolves, or show behind-the-scenes glimpses. This is not about hype for hype's sake. It is about preparing the soil. By the time you open doors, your audience should already be leaning forward, waiting. Next comes education. Launches fail when people do not understand the value. You cannot assume your audience knows why your offer matters. The launch period is your chance to teach them. Through emails, videos, webinars, or posts, you illuminate the problem, clarify the path, and demonstrate the transformation possible. Every piece of content must remove doubt, reduce resistance, and increase belief. Each story, example, or testimonial becomes proof that your promise is real. Scarcity and urgency are not manipulation when used with integrity. They are reminders that opportunities are windows, not endless doors. Humans delay by nature. They need reasons to act now. A deadline, a bonus, or limited seats turns passive interest into decisive action. But the promise must remain honest. Scarcity invented for pressure corrodes trust. Scarcity rooted in reality strengthens commitment. The structure of a launch includes phases: pre-launch, launch, and post-launch. Pre-launch builds anticipation and education. Launch is the opening of the gate, the cart open, the offer live. Post-launch is as crucial as the others. Many creators vanish once the doors close, but the infinite income code teaches that momentum carries beyond. Follow-up matters. Celebrate those who joined. Continue nurturing those who hesitated. Thank your community, share wins, and invite them to remain connected. The river of income does not stop at the gate. It flows if you guide it. Systems strengthen launches. Automated sequences ensure no one is forgotten. Timed posts create rhythm. Clear tracking shows where people engage and where they drift. Without systems, launches drain energy and scatter attention. With systems, they feel orchestrated, flowing like music from one note to the next. Finally, launches must be iterative. No launch is perfect. Some exceed dreams, others disappoint. Both are teachers. Gather data, reflect, and refine. Every launch is practice for the next. The more you launch, the more you master, and mastery brings predictability. Imagine knowing that twice a year you can open a gate and release 6 figures of income with confidence. That is the power of launch mechanics done right. A launch is not noise, it is ceremony. It honors your work, your audience, and the value you bring. It is the moment when streams join, when preparation meets opportunity, and when your promise becomes reality for those ready to receive it. And when you launch with design, the rivers that flow are not accidents. They are inevitabilities. Chapter 23, The Offer Stack. One offer is a stream. Many aligned offers are a river system, weaving together to serve people at different depths of need and capacity. The offer stack is not about overwhelming your audience with options. It is about designing a ladder, a pathway of progression that allows people to step deeper into transformation at their own pace. In the infinite income code, the offer stack multiplies revenue without multiplying effort, because each offer is built on the foundation of the others. The psychology behind the offer stack is simple. People have different levels of desire, resources, and readiness. Some want to dip a toe, others want to swim, and a few want to dive to the ocean floor. If you only provide one depth, you exclude the rest. But by offering layers, entry, core, and premium, you meet each where they are while guiding them upward. At the base are gateway offers. These are low-cost or free resources that deliver quick wins. They build trust, demonstrate your value, and invite deeper exploration. A template, a workshop, a starter product, all serve as doors into your world. Gateway offers are not profit engines. They are introductions. But introductions, when designed well, lead to relationships that compound. The core offer is your bridge, the promise you designed with precision. This is where most of your audience invests and where your primary transformation occurs. It must be strong, clear, and reliable. The core offer is your anchor in the stack, the stream that flows most consistently. Above the core is the premium tier. This is for those who want more, deeper access, personal guidance, or advanced resources. Here lies your highest revenue per customer, your most committed tribe. Premium offers might include private coaching, masterminds, or high-level consulting. They are not for everyone, nor should they be. Their very exclusivity makes them powerful. The offer stack also includes add-ons and bundles. These create choice without confusion. Someone who purchases a course may also add a workbook or coaching call. Someone who joins a membership may bundle in a retreat. These additions widen streams by increasing value per customer without requiring more acquisition. The genius of the offer stack is its compounding nature. Each level feeds the next. A free guide leads to a course leads to a membership leads to a mastermind. The journey feels natural because each step fulfills one need while revealing the next. Customers are not pressured upward, they are invited upward by desire. Clarity is crucial. Too many choices confuse and paralyze. The stack must feel like a staircase, not a maze. Each level must be clear in scope, value, and outcome. The audience should understand exactly what they receive at every step, and what lies above if they wish to ascend. An elegant offer stack turns single transaction customers into lifelong partners. It reduces churn, increases lifetime value, and multiplies streams without multiplying effort. It is the architecture of continuity, guiding each person deeper into transformation while guiding your income deeper into stability. With an offer stack, you are no longer a merchant of one product. You are the steward of a journey. Each stream flows into the next until together they form a river system vast enough to sustain infinite income. Chapter 24. Retention and Expansion. Acquisition is exciting. New customers bring dopamine, momentum, and visible growth. But the infinite income code teaches that acquisition is only half the story. The other half, quieter, often neglected, is retention and expansion. Rivers are not sustained by new rain alone, they are sustained by keeping water within their banks. If you win customers but cannot keep them, your streams will forever leak. If you retain and expand, your rivers deepen, widen, and accelerate. Retention begins with delivering on your promise. Nothing substitutes for outcomes. If your customers receive the transformation they were promised, they will stay. If they do not, no amount of clever marketing can compensate. Retention is the fruit of integrity. You must care more about results than revenue, and paradoxically, this care produces more revenue than any tactic. But retention is also about experience. People stay where they feel valued. A personalized thank you, a quick response, a moment of surprise, all create belonging. Human touches transform transactions into relationships. Relationships endure. Education deepens retention. Customers who understand how to use your product, program, or service fully will stay longer. Many cancellations happen not because of lack of value, but because of lack of clarity. Tutorials, FAQs, onboarding sequences, all are silent guardians against churn. Community is another anchor. When customers feel connected not just to you, but to each other, they stay for the network as much as the product. Friendships, collaborations, and peer support become reasons to remain. In this way, retention is no longer your burden. It becomes self-sustaining. Expansion grows from trust. When someone has experienced one transformation, they are open to the next. Expansion may mean upselling to a higher tier, cross-selling complementary products, or inviting customers into new streams. But expansion must never feel like extraction. It must feel like invitation. You've achieved this. Are you ready for the next step? Expansion offered at the right time feels like service, not sales. Metrics matter here. Track churn, lifetime value, and repeat purchase rate. These numbers reveal leaks and opportunities. If churn is high, examine your delivery. If lifetime value is low, build new offers. If repeat purchases stall, create re-engagement campaigns. Data guides decisions, and decisions guide flow. Imagine two businesses. One acquires 100 new customers each month, but loses 90. Another acquires 20, but retains 18 and expands half into premium tiers. The first struggles endlessly. The second compounds. Retention and expansion are not glamorous, but they are the foundation of rivers that never dry. To master them, shift perspective. Do not see customers as one-time sales. See them as companions on a journey. Serve them, surprise them, educate them, connect them, and invite them upward. When you do, you are no longer chasing rainstorms. You are building reservoirs, rivers, and lakes. And in that abundance, infinite income is not a dream, it is reality. Chapter 25, Multiple Streams, One Strategy. There is a temptation in the pursuit of wealth to scatter energy. Many chase every possible stream, believing more offers automatically equal more income. But the infinite income code warns against this illusion. Streams must not be random tributaries rushing in different directions. They must converge into one river, guided by a single strategy. Otherwise, what appears as growth becomes dilution. The power lies not in multiplying chaos, but in orchestrating harmony. Multiple streams matter because markets shift, platforms change, and no single offer lasts forever. To depend on one stream is to risk drought, but to diversify without design is to create distractions. The balance lies in building streams that share the same foundation: your positioning, your promise, your audience. Each stream should echo the same core transformation, expressed in different forms or tiers. Think of a musician. She can earn through albums, concerts, merchandise, licensing, and teaching. If each is aligned with her brand, each stream strengthens the others. The fan who buys an album is more likely to attend a concert, the concert goer more likely to purchase merchandise, the student more likely to license her music. Streams converge. But if she suddenly sells cooking classes, the streams split. Energy disperses, trust confuses, and income weakens. To design multiple streams, begin with your audience. Ask, what other problems do they face? What other desires arise after the first is fulfilled? Then build sequential solutions. A fitness coach may offer one-on-one training, then add a group program, then release a nutrition guide, then create a subscription for ongoing accountability. Each stream serves the same person at a different moment. Leverage is the second principle. Streams must not require you to rebuild from scratch. Repurpose knowledge, frameworks, and systems. A course becomes a book becomes a workshop becomes a retreat. Each expression carries the same DNA but multiplies reach. This ensures your energy compounds instead of fragments. The third principle is timing. Do not launch many streams at once. Build one until it flows steadily. Then, with capital and systems in place, branch outward. Many fail by expanding too early, chasing novelty while their first stream is still fragile. Rivers widen gradually. They are not created by reckless splitting. Finally, integration is key. Market your streams together, not apart. Cross-promote, bundle, and ascend. Let each stream feed the others so that one customer becomes many sales. In this way, you are not multiplying audiences, but deepening relationships. Multiple streams, one strategy. That is the principle. Scatter and you weaken. Align and you amplify. And when your streams converge into one river of purpose, you step into the promise of infinite income, abundance that flows from clarity, not chaos. Chapter 26, Risk, Law, and Moats. The pursuit of income often feels like building castles, but castles without walls are vulnerable. Rivers without banks overflow and destroy. The Infinite Income Code teaches that protection is not optional. Risk, law, and moats form the defenses that ensure your streams do not dry or vanish when challenges arise. Risk is reality. Markets crash, algorithms shift, partners betray, health falters. To ignore risk is naive. To manage it is wisdom. The first defense is diversification, not random, but strategic. If one stream slows, others sustain you. The second defense is reserves, capital stored to endure winters. The third is adaptability, the willingness to pivot quickly without clinging to what no longer works. Legal foundations matter as much as creativity. Contracts protect partnerships. Trademarks guard your brand. Incorporation shields your personal assets from business liabilities. Many creators avoid these steps, thinking them unnecessary or expensive. But a single dispute, lawsuit, or theft can erase years of progress. Legal structures are not burdens, they are shields that allow creativity to flourish without fear. Intellectual property protection is another defense. Your ideas, courses, content, and frameworks are assets. If left unguarded, they can be stolen, copied, or diluted, but when protected, they become moats around your castle. Competitors may mimic, but they cannot trespass without consequence. A moat is anything that makes your streams defensible and difficult to replicate. Technology can be a moat when proprietary. Community can be a moat when bonded deeply. Reputation can be a moat when earned consistently. Moats ensure that even when competitors notice your streams, they cannot divert them easily. Risk also requires humility. Overconfidence blinds, making you vulnerable. The wise builder assumes storms will come and prepares accordingly. Insurance, backups, legal agreements, these may feel unglamorous, but they are the reason your rivers survive droughts and floods. Remember, income without defense is fragile. But income protected by law, shielded by moats, and fortified against risk becomes resilient. Resilience is wealth that lasts, and in that resilience lies the true power of infinite income, not streams that flash and fade, but rivers that endure. Chapter 27, Reputation Compounding. Reputation is invisible currency. It cannot be printed, but it can be earned. It cannot be bought, but it can be built. And once it compounds, its value surpasses any single transaction. In the Infinite Income Code, reputation is the unseen force that accelerates streams. It is why opportunities arrive uninvited, why referrals multiply, and why doors open without knocking. Reputation begins with trust. Deliver what you promise, when you promise, how you promise. Each fulfilled promise is a deposit. Each broken one is a withdrawal. Over time, your account of reputation grows. Unlike marketing campaigns, reputation does not vanish when the budget ends. It lives in the minds of those you served. The compounding effect is exponential. A satisfied customer tells one or two. A delighted customer tells dozens. In the digital age, their words can reach thousands. Reviews, testimonials, and case studies become amplifiers of your reputation. The more stories you accumulate, the more the market begins to assume your credibility before they even meet you. But reputation is not only about outcomes, it is also about character. How do you treat people when things go wrong? Do you honor refunds, respond quickly, admit mistakes? People remember not perfection but integrity. A single graceful resolution can outweigh many flawless transactions. Consistency is the soil in which reputation grows. Flashy promises may draw attention, but only consistent delivery sustains it. Show up regularly, communicate clearly, and keep standards high. Inconsistency confuses trust. Consistency compounds it. Reputation also scales through generosity. Share knowledge freely. Contribute without expectation. Help others publicly. These actions paint you as a giver, not just a taker. And people trust givers. In time, that trust becomes loyalty, and loyalty becomes revenue. Guard your reputation like treasure. One careless act, one unethical decision can erode years of trust. The higher you climb, the more fragile reputation becomes, for more eyes are watching. Every choice either strengthens or weakens the current of belief flowing toward you. Ultimately, reputation compounding is not strategy alone. It is identity. It is who you are when no one is watching. It is the alignment of your inner code with your outer actions. When the two match, people feel it. They sense safety, reliability, and inspiration. With a strong reputation, income begins to flow without effort. Opportunities chase you instead of you chasing them. Customers arrive pre-sold. Referrals multiply. Partnerships seek you out. This is the compounding of reputation, the invisible force that makes your streams not just wide, but unstoppable. In this compounding lies the secret. Infinite income is not only about systems, offers, or platforms. It is about becoming the kind of person whose very name draws rivers of trust. Chapter 28. Global Leverage. The world is no longer bound by borders. Once, opportunities for income were limited by the walls of a town, the reach of a horse, the time of a ship. Now, in a single breath, your work can be seen across continents, your message translated instantly, your product purchased by a stranger you will never meet. Global leverage is not a dream of the future. It is the current reality. And those who harness it unlock streams of income that span oceans, unstoppable and borderless. Global leverage begins with perspective. Too often, creators think only of their local market. They speak, price, and design as if their audience lives down the street. But the Infinite Income Code urges you to lift your eyes. Your audience is not only your city, state, or country. It is the billions connected by digital wires, each with unique needs, but united by universal desires. Health, wealth, love, freedom, meaning. When you frame your value in these universal terms, geography dissolves. Technology is the bridge. Platforms allow you to sell courses, tools, and services worldwide. Payment processors convert currencies seamlessly. Translation tools erase language barriers. Logistics networks carry physical products across borders in days. Never before has the infrastructure for global business been so accessible. The rivers are already carved. Your task is to place your vessel in them. But leverage is not about blasting one message everywhere. It is about adaptation. Cultures differ. What resonates in one land may confuse in another. Global leverage requires listening, learning, and respecting nuance. The promise remains universal, but the expression must fit the soil where it is planted. A course on productivity may emphasize freedom in one culture and efficiency in another. The river flows smoother when you respect its terrain. Time zones, once barriers, now become advantages. With global reach, your business can earn while you sleep. Customers in Asia may purchase while you rest in America. Clients in Europe may engage while you recharge in Australia. Streams of income do not pause when you pause. They continue because the world never stops turning. Partnerships magnify global leverage. Collaborate with influencers, distributors, or brands in other countries. They lend you trust and access you could not create alone. Through them, your promise enters markets that once felt unreachable. Each partnership becomes a tributary feeding your global river. Global leverage also demands resilience. Exchange rates fluctuate, regulations shift, and logistics falter. To succeed, you must diversify across regions, never relying too heavily on one. Just as multiple streams protect you in a single market, multiple markets protect you globally. Ultimately, global leverage is about embracing abundance. There are enough customers. There are enough opportunities. Scarcity dissolves when you realize the billions who could benefit from your work. You are not bound by geography. You are bound only by imagination. And when imagination expands, so does income. Rivers of revenue do not stop at borders. They flow, borderless and eternal, carrying your promise to every corner of the earth. Chapter 29, Seasons of the Builder. Rivers may seem eternal, but even rivers follow rhythms. They swell in spring, narrow in summer, freeze in winter. The builder's journey is no different. Infinite income does not mean infinite hustle. It means aligning with seasons. Seasons of planting, growth, harvest, and rest. To ignore these cycles is to risk burnout, exhaustion, and collapse. To honor them is to sustain your streams for a lifetime. The first season is planting. Here you create foundations, learning skills, building systems, crafting offers, and nurturing audiences. Planting feels slow, often unrewarding. Results are invisible, hidden beneath the soil. Many quit here, mistaking the absence of harvest for the absence of growth. But those who persist, who trust the hidden work, eventually see shoots break the surface. The second season is growth. Momentum builds, customers arrive, revenue begins to flow. Excitement fuels energy. This is the season of expansion, of scaling systems, of adding streams. But growth requires vigilance. Without pruning, growth becomes chaos. Without structure, momentum collapses. The wise builder knows growth is not about speed alone, but about alignment. The third season is harvest. This is when the work of planting and growing pays off. Streams converge, revenue multiplies, abundance arrives. The temptation here is to assume harvest lasts forever. But harvest is a phase, not permanence. It must be celebrated, enjoyed, but also reinvested. Capital stored in harvest fuels the next planting season. To spend recklessly is to squander the future. The fourth season is rest. Rest is not laziness, it is renewal. Creativity, vision, and resilience require space. Even machines burn out if never powered down. Infinite income requires infinite energy, and energy requires restoration. Seasons of rest prepare you for seasons of planting anew. The cycles repeat endlessly. Planting leads to growth, growth to harvest, harvest to rest, rest to planting. To resist the cycle is to fight nature itself. To embrace it is to flow with the rhythm of life. The infinite income code is not about pushing endlessly. It is about aligning with seasons, conserving energy, and building wealth sustainably. When you recognize which season you are in, you stop comparing yourself to others in different cycles. You stop forcing harvest during planting or planting during rest. You accept the rhythm, and in acceptance, you find peace. Infinite income is not only about streams of money, it is about streams of time, energy, and meaning. Seasons remind you that wealth is not built in a sprint, but in cycles repeated faithfully. Honor the seasons, and your rivers will never dry. Chapter 30. The Infinite Code Integrated. You have walked through principles, systems, and practices. You have learned to position, craft, price, distribute, automate, delegate, and protect. Each chapter has been a piece of the mosaic, a stream joining the others. But the Infinite Income Code is not about fragments. It is about integration. True power emerges when the streams converge, when each element strengthens the others, until together they form a river that never stops. Integration means alignment. Your positioning aligns with your promise. Your offers align with your audience. Your automation aligns with your nurture. Your teams align with your vision. Nothing is wasted, nothing is scattered. Every system, every stream, every effort points toward the same river. That river is not only income, it is impact. When integrated, the code feels effortless. Customers enter through content, flow into offers, ascend the stack, remain through retention, and expand into new tiers. Systems deliver, automation nurtures, teams sustain, data guides, and reputation compounds. What once felt like a grind becomes flow. You no longer chase income, it arrives. You no longer fear drought. Streams converge. Integration is also identity. The infinite income code is not only what you do, it is who you become. You become the architect of systems, the steward of trust, the builder of rivers. You no longer see money as sporadic chance, but as predictable flow. This shift transforms anxiety into confidence, scarcity into abundance, survival into mastery. But integration is not static. Rivers change course, markets shift, technologies evolve. Integration requires continual reflection. What still flows, what clogs, what leaks, what multiplies. It is an ongoing dance of refinement. The code is infinite because you are infinite in your capacity to learn, adapt, and evolve. And integration extends beyond business. The habits of infinite income, clarity, service, trust, systems, resilience spill into life. Relationships deepen because you no longer operate from scarcity. Health improves because you are no longer enslaved to endless hustle. Creativity blooms because you have space to dream again. Integration makes income infinite, but it also makes life expansive. In the end, the infinite income code is not about chasing wealth. It is about becoming wealth, a generator of value, trust, and meaning. Streams of income are the evidence, but the transformation is deeper. You are no longer the seeker of opportunity. You are the source. You are no longer the one asking if abundance exists. You are the one proving it daily. Integration is mastery. Mastery is freedom. And freedom is the true promise of infinite income. Rivers flow not because you force them, but because you have built channels aligned with truth. This is the infinite code, integrated. This is the moment when streams become oceans. This is the life where revenue never stops because you have become the architect of endless flow. Chapter 31, Wealth as Energy. Wealth is often misunderstood. People imagine it as numbers in an account, stacks of currency, assets on a balance sheet. But in truth, wealth is energy. It is the measure of how much value you create, circulate, and sustain. The infinite income code teaches that wealth is not static. It moves, it vibrates, it expands or contracts, depending on how you direct it. And when you begin to see wealth as energy, you stop clinging and start channeling. Energy cannot be hoarded without consequence. When you trap it, it stagnates, like water standing still until it becomes toxic. In the same way, when you clutch money in fear, refusing to circulate it, you invite decay. But when you release money with intention, investing, giving, building, you set energy in motion. That motion returns to you amplified. This is not mysticism, it is the natural rhythm of circulation. Wealth flows where it is honored. Honor means stewardship, not reckless indulgence. It means asking, does this choice expand energy or diminish it? When you invest in systems, skills, or tools that expand your capacity, you multiply energy. When you spend blindly for status or distraction, you drain it. Wealth as energy responds not to ego, but to alignment. Consider a farmer. He harvests grain and could hoard it, terrified of famine. But stored too long, grain spoils. If instead he plants, shares, and sells, his grain multiplies. So it is with wealth. To see money as energy is to stop fearing loss and start directing flow. Gratitude amplifies wealth's energy. When you receive with thanks, you expand your capacity to receive more. When you give with joy, you create currents of return. Resentment, fear, and greed constrict energy. Service, generosity, and clarity expand it. The Infinite Income Code teaches that wealth is not a possession, but a responsibility. The more you channel, the greater your role in shaping currents that serve not just you, but others. When you hold wealth as energy, you also detach from identity. You stop measuring your worth by your wallet. You realize money is a tool, not a reflection of your soul. This detachment paradoxically invites more because you no longer repel it with fear or desperation. You align with flow, and flow expands. The true masters of infinite income are not those who accumulate endlessly, but those who circulate wisely. They understand wealth as energy, shaping rivers that nourish communities, families, and generations. Their legacy is not numbers, but impact. And when you step into this perspective, you too become a conductor of energy, a channel for abundance that never stops moving, never stops multiplying, never stops flowing. Chapter 32. Freedom Beyond Money. The pursuit of income begins with survival. You want enough to cover food, shelter, and security. Then it expands to comfort, better homes, travel, opportunities for family. But if you stop here, you mistake the tool for the goal. The Infinite Income Code insists that true freedom lies beyond money. Streams of revenue are not the end. They are the means to unlock deeper freedoms. The first freedom is time. Time is the only resource that cannot be replaced. When income flows independently of your constant labor, you reclaim hours once sold. Suddenly, mornings can be slow, afternoons can be creative, evenings can be devoted to family or rest. Time freedom allows you to live deliberately, not reactively. The second freedom is choice. With income uncoupled from scarcity, you choose projects because they inspire, not because they pay. You choose partners who align with values, not simply those who offer contracts. You choose where to live, how to work, and when to pause. This freedom is subtle but profound. It shifts life from obligation to authorship. The third freedom is voice. Financial dependence often silences truth. People stay in jobs, relationships, or systems that stifle them because they fear the cost of speaking honestly. But when income is abundant and resilient, you can speak without fear. You can stand for values, advocate for causes, and refuse compromise. Freedom of voice transforms not only your life, but also the lives of those who hear and follow your example. The fourth freedom is purpose. Beyond money lies the freedom to align life with meaning, to create because you want to serve because it matters, to build because it fulfills. When streams of income flow without constant survival pressure, you can turn energy toward impact. You move from extracting to contributing, from surviving to leaving legacy. But these freedoms require discipline. Money alone does not grant them, perspective does. Many with wealth remain enslaved to time, trapped in status, silenced by fear, or distracted from purpose. They have streams, but no direction. To step into freedom beyond money, you must consciously choose to use income as a tool, not as a chain. True wealth is not measured by what you own, but by what you no longer fear losing. When fear dissolves, freedom expands. And when freedom expands, your rivers of income no longer define you. They serve you. You become the master of time, choice, voice, and purpose. This is the horizon beyond money. This is the freedom the Infinite Income Code was always pointing toward. Chapter 33. Legacy of Flow. Every river eventually joins the sea. The question is not whether your streams will end, but what they will nourish along the way. The infinite income code culminates here, in legacy. Legacy is not only what you leave behind in accounts, properties, or companies. Legacy is the continuation of flow, how your energy, your systems, and your vision ripple long after your hands are gone. Legacy begins now, not later. Each choice plants seeds. The way you treat customers becomes part of your reputation, which outlives you. The systems you build can serve others after you retire. The wisdom you share can echo in books, videos, or communities for decades. Legacy is not a distant horizon. It is the trail you carve daily. The most enduring legacy is impact. Did your streams improve lives? Did your rivers nourish communities? Did your wealth energy expand possibilities for others? A fortune kept hidden fades quickly. A fortune circulated with intention becomes a forest. Children educated, businesses seeded, ideas funded. These are streams that flow long after you. Legacy also lives in people. Teams you empower continue building. Customers you transform continue sharing. Partners you uplift continue multiplying. When you invest in people, you create living rivers that extend your vision. You are not remembered only for what you built, but for who you empowered to build. Yet legacy is not perfection. It is consistency. Small acts of integrity repeated over time leave deeper marks than occasional grandeur. A company that honors customers for decades leaves a stronger legacy than one that donates once for spectacle. Rivers carve canyons not by force, but by persistence. Your ultimate legacy is consciousness. Did you teach others to see wealth as energy, to use money for freedom, to honor flow? If you pass this vision forward, you extend not just streams of income, but streams of wisdom. Generations carry your principles, adapting them to new times, keeping rivers alive. The infinite income code is more than a book, more than a system. It is an invitation to live as an architect of flow, not just for yourself, but for the world. Your streams can end with you or extend through you. The choice is daily: hoard or circulate, shrink or expand, survive or serve. Legacy of flow is choosing expansion. It is building rivers that outlast storms, borders, and lifetimes. When you align with this truth, you no longer fear endings. For you know your streams are not yours alone. They are contributions to an ocean far greater, and in that ocean, your name, your vision, your impact ripple forever. Chapter 34: The Inner Investor. The streams of infinite income may begin outside you: offers, platforms, customers, partnerships, but eventually the greatest current flows within. The infinite income code teaches that to sustain abundance, you must evolve from a consumer of opportunity into an investor of vision. The inner investor is not merely someone who places money in markets. It is the self that chooses where attention, energy, and capital are planted. Every decision is an investment. Every action either compounds or decays. The inner investor begins with awareness. Ask, where is my energy going each day? Into distractions that yield nothing, or into creation that multiplies? Into fear that shrinks possibilities, or into courage that opens them? Wealth is not simply the result of money invested. It is the reflection of choices invested. Time is your earliest capital. Energy is your most powerful asset. The inner investor directs both with intention, but money too must be invested, not hoarded. The old script teaches you to save endlessly, to store capital like grain in silos. Yet stored too long, money stagnates. Inflation erodes it. Fear paralyzes it. The inner investor understands circulation. Every dollar can either be trapped or sent into the world to work. Investments in skills, in systems, in assets, in people, these create new streams. Some will fail, others will flourish, but each expands capacity. Risk is the language of investing. To fear risk is to fear growth. Yet risk is not recklessness. It is calculated faith informed by data, intuition, and resilience. The inner investor accepts that some seeds will not sprout, but plants anyway. For the cost of never planting is far greater than the cost of failed attempts. An inner investor is also patient. Streams take time to form. Impatience demands immediate returns, but rivers are carved slowly. When you invest with long vision, you honor compounding, the invisible force that magnifies effort over time. Compounding is not only mathematical but spiritual. The habits you invest in, the relationships you nurture, the integrity you display, all accumulate silently until they burst into visible abundance. Consider the difference between a spender and an investor. The spender sees money as escape, using it to numb or distract. The investor sees money as a seed, using it to grow. The spender empties rivers into deserts. The investor channels rivers into fields that nourish for generations. The inner investor also balances the portfolio of life. Not every investment is financial. Some must be emotional, spiritual, relational, time with family, care for health, devotion to purpose. These are not luxuries, they are streams. Ignore them and wealth feels hollow. Nurture them and income aligns with fulfillment. Becoming the inner investor means shifting identity. You are no longer the worker scraping for wages or even the entrepreneur chasing streams. You are the architect who allocates resources, directs flow, and trusts in compounding. You no longer ask, "What do I earn?" You ask, "What do I build? What do I sustain? What do I pass forward?" The infinite income code culminates in this truth. The streams you see are mirrors of the investments you make. Invest in distraction and you harvest scarcity. Invest in clarity and you harvest abundance. Wealth is not something you stumble upon. It is the result of investments aligned with vision. When you master the inner investor, you no longer wonder if income will come. You know it will, for you have built the system within. Chapter 35. The Circle of Continuity. There is a moment in every journey when the seeker becomes the teacher, the builder becomes the guide. The infinite income code is not truly infinite until you share it. Continuity comes not only from systems, automation, and assets, but from passing knowledge, nurturing others, and keeping flow alive across generations. The circle closes when you give back, and in closing, it opens again. Continuity is legacy in motion. It means the rivers you have carved do not dry when you step aside. They continue because you have empowered others to tend them, expand them, and create new tributaries. Your wisdom is encoded not only in books or tools, but in people, mentors, apprentices, children, communities. The code is called infinite because it transcends the individual. The circle begins with teaching. Share your path openly. Speak of victories, but also of failures. Others learn more from your scars than from your trophies. When you reveal the struggles behind the streams, you give permission for others to persist. When their rivers feel thin, teaching does not diminish you, it multiplies you. Each person who applies your lessons becomes a new current, carrying the flow further. Continuity also requires humility. You must recognize that your methods are not final. Markets evolve, technology shifts, new generations think differently. To demand your way remain untouched is to strangle progress. The circle requires you to release control, trusting others to adapt the code to their time. Continuity is not replication, it is renewal. The circle thrives on generosity. When you reinvest into communities, scholarships, causes, and initiatives, you send energy back into the world. That energy returns, sometimes directly, sometimes through ways you may never see. Generosity creates faith, and faith sustains rivers. But continuity is not only outward, it is also inward. The circle demands you return often to beginnings. Revisit your vision, refine your positioning, question your offers. Renew your practices. Infinity is a loop, not a line. Each cycle deepens mastery. Each return strengthens streams. The circle ensures you remain a student, even as you teach. Consider the orchard. One generation plants trees, another eats fruit, a third gathers seeds and plants anew. The orchard exists only because the circle is honored. If one breaks the cycle, hoarding fruit, refusing to plant, the orchard dies. Wealth is the same. Continuity demands planting as much as harvesting, giving as much as receiving. The infinite income code ends where it began, in flow. The streams you build are not yours to own, but yours to steward. You shape them, you benefit from them, you protect them, but ultimately they belong to the larger circle of humanity. When you step into this truth, fear dissolves. You no longer clutch rivers in desperation. You trust the circle. You contribute to the circle, and in doing so, you become part of something eternal. The circle of continuity is the final lesson. Streams become rivers, rivers join oceans, oceans rise into clouds, and clouds rain down as streams again. Nothing is lost. Everything circulates. Your income, your energy, your show, your impact, they are part of this circle. And when you embrace it fully, your life becomes more than a pursuit of wealth. It becomes a continuation of flow, infinite, eternal, unbroken.